So what that means is I cannot rely on one opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, there is one that everyone knows, but I cannot be the person to rely on one opportunity. So amaso yanjye abacanye sahanisa. Hano yameze gutya.
Again, thank you very much. Welcome to Saloon 3 Conversation. Or I start with disclaimer. We are very happy from the feedback you've been sharing with us, and then all the encouragement, constructive feedback. As I keep saying, this is very new to us in terms of creating this growth conversation. And we are still trying to find out what is really the right format that's going to work in the long run. Ariko, as we are trying to do that, we will keep trying different things, have guests, have personal conversations, events, maybe really anything that we think would bring out a topic that you can learn something. Because this is a conversation about growth. It's a conversation about your personal learning and personal development. So because of that, today we will also mix language, Ikinyarwanda n'Icyongereza, because I have my very, very good friend for many, many years, Mamazi, aka Sherry. Cyangwa se Sherry, aka Mamazi.
YOLO.
So, how are you?
I'm great.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Yes.
Very, very happy today, especially having you on our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I know it's a bit last minute when you called me yesterday, but I was like, yeah, let's do this. And by the way, well done on this podcast. I think it really takes a lot. I think there's so many people who have ideas that are just dying somewhere, including myself. So seeing you take this step, kudos to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for accepting to come to our show, really last minute. And as for doing this, it's the credit to everyone you see here.
Wonderful team. It's a full house.
Yeah, it is really a full house. They helped me getting this and making this to life. Sure. So, Sherry, we are going to have a conversation about parenthood. There is a Sherry I know, which as we go in the conversation, I would be also explaining the person I know as you are.
Yeah.
Ariko, tell us, who is Sherry?
Actually, Malik, now that you've said that, sorry, you come back to answer your question, but I think you know several versions of me.
Yes.
I think you've seen me transition into motherhood.
A lot.
So that gives you, okay, I get it. Anyway, for the viewers, people who are watching, my name is Sherry, Sherry Uwase. I am so many things. I am a mom first and foremost. I am obviously a daughter. I am a sister. I am an artist. I have a very on and off relationship with my music, but we still have that relationship. So I thank God. Let me see what else. Yeah, I also am a marketing and communications manager at it's an organization that I work for, and I think that's it from now.
You're also my boss, right? In the other side of the world.
Yes, we can see that.
Cool. So yes, everything you say is the Sherry I know, right? But most importantly, really, I think we know each other since 2017, maybe
2017. Yes.
2017.
Yes.
And as you said, I know I've seen you growing in different things, right?
Yeah.
I've seen you growing as a mom. I've seen you growing as an artist.
In my career.
In your career as well. We've worked together. And as a friend as well.
Yeah.
So, Ariko, there is one thing that I've seen you even growing way more. And that's really what I want us to talk about. I have seen you becoming a role model, a supermom.
Woo.
Yes, I need to explain this, right?
That's a lot of pressure.
It's really not. I think people should know and then should. I don't know how to explain this. Ariko, simbizi niba rukomaze kugira abana benshi. You grow in
Babiri,
my friend.
babiri.
mukyala
Abandi bafite
kirenze
umunani.
bino ari benshi ari byinshi urumva. So you get to see things and you start appreciating, right? You start appreciating the little things around you. And not only that, Sherry, like, before I start asking my questions, right? Can you please share whatever you can share on your mom journey?
Yeah, so maybe I think the most straightforward thing I'll share is I'm a solo parent.
Yes.
Solo, it's I don't like to say single because if I'm being totally honest, I have a lot of support that I don't think I'm doing it alone. But when it comes to some things, it's like an artist. When you're a solo artist, you have a producer, you have a whatever team that you're working with, you have instrumentalists, and you have all of those people. But then when you're doing the track, it's you. So even when it comes to on ground responsibility, financial responsibility, and all of those things, it's me solo. But then I really have I have the strongest support system. And if I'm also going to be totally honest, I can say I am also really privileged to have all the opportunities that I have. Know the things that I know. Do all of the things that I do. That also really makes me not feel like I'm going through the journey as a parent. So I think that's what I would say about. Yeah.
So speaking of that, right? So I'm really, really grateful that I actually attended your
What is
when you're about to give a baby shower. I attended your baby shower. I think
that was in 2017.
18
Yavutse muri May of 2018.
Yes, that was 2018. It was a few months before you traveled to Kenya for giving birth.
Yeah.
So, and I think you are one of the very few mothers that invited men to baby shower, right? With a lot of very fun activities. And then it was, of course, very weird. Like, Malik, I'm doing a baby shower, but I also want to invite guys on my baby shower. But it was really exciting, right? Yes. And then very different. Kwera ko mu busanzwe ntabwo tujya mu baby shower abaga. So
na nubu se ntago
sha yawe niyo yonyine natashye.
Oh really?
So Sherry, tell me, there is a journey yongeye sinshaka kujya, but by the time you realize you are about to become a mother, right? And you realize that you're probably gonna be a solo mother. What came to your mind? And then how did you plan to get ready for that journey?
Yeah. I will go back to, let me answer that by, there is something that my dad said to me very many years ago. My dad he passed away in 2014. So it has been a couple of years. But throughout my life, he was anyway, I was going to say he was very present, but obviously had to because my parents are married and, I grew up in a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
And one time he said to me, ngo njewe ifitana wanje bane. Me and my siblings, they swore, ngo muzabyara ngo zabara abanyu, ngo ntago zabara abanje, nta nundi muntu muzamufatanyije. So that really stuck with me. And so when I found out I was pregnant, my first instinct went to that, like, this is your blood. Whether you like it or not, this is you. So you have to really step up your game. And I don't think, when I say step up, I'm not saying I was in a very bad situation. I don't even think I was in a bad situation. Like, it was just like a realization. Now, the thing that hit me was my mom. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to face my mom? And how am I going to tell her? Again, support system. I had some family really support me through that. And surprisingly, my mom was also very supportive. Obviously, as a parent, and especially a random parent, you want your kids the traditional way. You want your kids to get married. And I think that's what every parent would want. You want your kids, nobody wants their child to be a single parent. You want your kids to get married. You want it to go through, uburyo tuzi butari bubavune. And that was her concern. But also my mom is a very, she has such deep Christian values. And I think when you have values, it really helps. When you have like a strong value ufite mu buzima bwawe. It really helps. So how she looked at it as umwana n'umugisha, which it is. So she sat my siblings down and she told them, we are expecting a baby. We are a family.
So your mom did?
Yeah, my mom. That's what she said to my siblings. She's like, we are a family. Ni gutya bizajya bigenda, ubu ngubu uru ni urugamba tugiye kurwana. This is what we need to do. And I don't know if you remember, maybe you might not, but when we were at Girl Effect, my sister used to bring me lunch.
Yes.
Because my mom was like, you need like prime care. Tuzaye tugutekera ibyo kurya tubikuzanire ku kazi. And my sister used to bring me lunch. Sometimes my brother used to drive me to work. So at the beginning, I felt like it was going to be a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing, obviously, especially from other people. Not from me. Me, I was just like, here we are. I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. And also, like, come on, what did you expect?
Yeah.
Every time you get intimate, anybody, there's a chance, even if you could potentially have a child with someone, intimate with them. Scientifically speaking, biologists, those are facts.
Yeah.
So sometimes you also have to be realistic with ourselves. So I think for me, that was really it. And I would go, okay, I gotta do it. Nobody's here to do it for me. And then another thing that I don't know how to put it, but another thing that I decided at that time, I was like, this is going to be my journey. So come what may, this is going to be my journey. Najya gukoropa toilette, najya guhinga, akaba ari njye uhinga, akaba ari nanjye ujya kugurisha nkasarura. One woman team, that is exactly what I'm going to do. But this child who is coming into this world, they didn't choose to be here. So I really have to like step up and put in the work. So yeah, that was my mindset from that.
I mean, that's very brave in a sense of two things, right? Because when I picked the community support, right, or family support, kugira ngo byibuza n'abandi bari buze kutwumva, nitugira amahirwe abandi babyeyi bakatwumva, umve yuko nta kiba cyacitse, sibyo? Biba byabaye, so kugira umwana ikivume cyangwa se gutekereza yuko hari ibyo ugomba kumwima ntacyo bimaze, sibyo? So I think that was really helpful, and that I think that's really one takeout that is really important for people who are listening to us. Ariko hari ikindi kintu uvuze that is really important that I actually also personally like to talk about is when you've made a choice to do something, you've made a choice to do something.
Yeah.
And there is an outcome.
Yeah, there
is an end to it.
Yeah.
So your end really you might as well celebrate it. But speaking of celebration, Sherry, I've seen you on that journey. You really celebrated your pregnancy. Wajya guduha show, kabyina, ugapostinga, sibyo. And really the sad reality is abantu benshi batinya gukora icyo kintu. They are scared of celebrating their motherhood journey cyangwa se their pregnancy journey, cyane cyane when they are solo parents.
Yeah.
Kubera yuko baba bafite ubwoba bwa society pressure. Barabibona gute, baragutekereza iki. And really I'm enjoying how you are having this you are talking about this, right? Ukavuga uti when you get intimate, when you decide to get intimate with someone, there is an end to it. The end might be a kid, may not be. Ariko, there is an end to it.
Potentially there could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, what did you have in mind of ibyo abantu batekereza nta kintu bimbiye? This is me now, right? I have to find a way to be happy with the situation, right? Kubera ko nanone nutaba happy, there might be some consequences.
Yeah. And Malik, maybe let me take you back to being happy. It's not easy.
Yeah,
happiness does not remove hardship from any situation. Let's not. I really want to make that clear. Happiness does not remove any hardship in the situation. So it was really difficult. It was really, really difficult. Like I think at some point, I had a very, very low emotionally. I was very low that I had to say, you know what? Let me take myself to therapy. I had to go and see somebody that I could talk to. Kuko, in as much as yes, I had the support, but the reality is you're going to do this solo.
Yeah.
No one wants to do that. You want, especially when it involves the other parent, you want to do that. And also not just that, ariko mu buzima busanzwe ikintu cyo gutwita, it's draining, like emotionally, mentally. I think wumva abantu either, because of the hormones, had abari in a certain way, bakagira gahinda. Actually, there's I don't know, there's something called, I think, is it prenatal depression or something like that? Where
there's also prenatal depression.
Yes, there's prenatal.
I knew about the
postpartum.
Yeah.
Wamaze kubyara. Prenatal, I think, I might not be sure, but I think there is something like that. Cyangwa ugasanga, I think we know, ibingi byo turabizi wenda hari nk'abantu bagira imishiha. So all of those are just hormonal changes going through the body. So I still, besides being saying this is musaraba wanje ngiye kuwikorera, it did not remove the fact that it was difficult.
Yeah.
I had so many nights where I struggled, where I could not sleep, where I was crying myself to sleep. Like it really does not. So I don't want anyone to who is going through the same experience to just say, I'm going to be as happy as Sherry, because Sherry was Sherry's mindset was to be happy regardless, but it did not take away the hormones. It did not take away the reality of the situation.
So I think that's actually the most important, right? And then thank you that you are actually sharing this. So now, how do you navigate that, right? Because kulumba harimo the decision you've made ukavuga regardless I decide to move, we move.
Yeah.
And then there is a situation that you cannot change. So the situation you cannot change is the hormones, right? Ariko niyo twashira hormones aside, you are a human, right? Uribaza ibibazo. Ngiye kubyara, umwana za sustain, urumva? Umwana zambaza ibibazo runaka, uri kubyumva. Nzamugurira ibi, even if you think yes, nagasaraba kanje nubundi nzakizirikaho, uri kubyumva, but you cannot miss the question of nzakizirikaho gute. Hanyuma noneho hakaza na society, which society usually it's not very welcoming.
Yeah.
So one thing you said is therapy, which is good, that you actually managed to go to therapy. So is there any other thing that you can share to someone who is living the same, that would really help to navigate all of those situations? Yeah.
Also maybe just to begin by saying therapy is not cheap. Maybe even at that time, it wasn't, I think I used to pay, was 15,000 per session.
That's even cheaper compared to what people pay today.
Yes, that's cheaper because that was in 2017, 2018. I don't think you can even get anyone for double that. Okay, maybe double that.
The cheapest therapy now is 35,000.
35. So it's expensive. But I also think community, when we're talking about community, having people that you can talk to. My friends were also really, really, really a great support system. But I also go to a point and I'm like, man, you don't want to be the friend who is always complaining. You don't want to be but some people, some friends are good enough and they're willing to walk the journey with you. Sometimes you need those mature friends who are emotionally intelligent and they know that. There's also now going back to society. So what I could say to that person, if you're not even able to afford, reach out to someone, your friend, your family, and I know you know that you can trust this person. And you can speak to them and it could help. Number two, when to the society, me, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but when it comes to society and what they have to say about my choices, I think about it. I'm like, will it matter in 5 years? Are you contributing to anything that I'm doing? Are you contributing to my bills? Are you contributing? Or if you're not, then you're just noise.
Nice one.
You're really noise. You're noise, and then there's no situation that's permanent. Because it's not a permanent situation. I can tell you, who are making noise about my situation. Like now they don't have anything to say. Even them, through that situation, they learn. Because if you're constantly pointing fingers, ukabona umuntu they have moved on, life has gone on, you start thinking, ukavuga ariko nanjye ubwanjye, let me not do that. Let me not be the first person to throw a stone. So I think as we are experiencing things, people close to us are also experiencing it. Kani icyo gihe ngewe, I was young. I think I was 24, 25. Actually 25. I was 25, turning 26. So yeah, viratambuka. So what I can say to people, viratambuka, I think the only time it's very difficult is if it's abantu very directly close to you.
Yeah.
And it could affect your well-being. Hari abo birukana ababyeyi bakabirukana pe akabura hajya inshuti nazo then that one is a really critical situation. Ariko ari abantu bari kukuvugira iwabo mu rugo nawe uri iwawe, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They will be next tomorrow. There could be another trending story and you will be forgotten. So those ones who are not going to affect you directly, abo nawe deranje rwose igihe ufata nk'abaderanje. Yeah,
I can relate a few of this, not as a single mom, but I have some part of me that can relate to some of this.
Yeah.
So not necessarily. This is my last question before you give birth, and then we go to the motherhood on its own. So today you get a lot of inbox. In I see you as a super mom. I don't think I'm the only person who sees this. At least buri muntu uwo ari we wese nicaranye nawe turi kuvuga parenthood, motherhood, tukavuga ijambo Sherry, buri muntu wese ansubiza ngo I don't know how Sherry does it, because they know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And they see the struggle you go through it. Urumva, and then how you always manage to come to the end of the tunnel. So nk'abantu bakwandikira wenda strangers, right? Other young ladies who I don't know niba hari ugeza kwandikira already in the same situation, or if someone will come now in the same situation, kavuga ati I'm having this situation. Where do you direct them? How do you help them?
I think I've had one or two people in the same situation. Banyandikiye and they're like, this is really hard. This is, when you're going through it. And I think that usually what I say is, as hard as it can be, it's not going to, like, this situation is not permanent. It will change. I'm telling you, actually, Malik, since wowe uri n'umubyeyi urabyumva cyane, iyo umwana avutse abantu barishima bakibagirwa ibintu byose. They usually also say, like, iyo ababyeyi bari kugise going through labor, it's very painful, but as soon as the baby comes, you forget. Okay, maybe you don't forget, but you're distracted from it.
I don't know how you guys forget about that. I haven't, and I'm not a woman, so
yeah. So umwana ahindura ibintu byinshi. So at that time, when people come to me, I have to stand in and tell them this situation it's not permanent, and I'm here to talk to you if you need to talk.
Yeah.
I think one person specifically said, obviously I'm not going to disclose who they are, because they were confident, they trusted me with that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that they were struggling with is how to approach family. And I told them, you will still have to approach them. Whether you need to text one more person who you feel like you can be more comfortable with, but you still have to take that responsibility and inform them. Ariko also really, what I also tell them is, how do you really feel about it? Because remember, for me, it was from a point of, okay, here we are. Twende kazi. Akazi katangiye k'ububyeyi. Dukomeze nyine dutangire urugendo. Ariko there is someone else who's really struggling.
Yeah.
Maybe they're thinking, will I ever get married now? Maybe they're thinking my life is over. Maybe they're thinking all of those things. So even somebody kugitich, you really have to have peace with yourself. Because if you don't, you will not even face society bari kukubwira, urananiranye, uri kirara, whatever. and that you will not be able to face them if you yourself, you can't be gracious to yourself.
Yeah.
So I think, what I've tried to tell them is around that, but also really to find someone bavugisha baganiriza who can support them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now, the present. I guess he after 7 years, right?
He's turning 7 in May.
In May. Oh, wow. So I can't believe it's been 7 years now.
It's been 7 years.
So Z play football.
Yeah.
Z goes to a good school. He speaks all languages. He knows music. Sherry is a successful woman in career.
Is it Malik? Success now. I haven't
Growing.
I haven't even touched the surface.
Okay.
You
are somewhere. You are
You
somewhere. You are somewhere. Sijja. Ufite akazi wenda that helps you to pay all of those bills. Remember, you're an artist. We came to your album listening last year.
Mm.
And you are a solo mother. How do you cut yourself in pieces? How do you do this, Sherry?
I wish I could tell you. I wake up at 4 a.m. But no, there is really no manual. And when it comes to this, I'll refer to my faith. I really strongly believe God has been holding me throughout this. But another thing that I really want to emphasize on is on the power of manifestation.
Yes.
Something about manifesting your life
Mm.
and speaking into existence something that you want, even way before you want it.
Yeah.
And this is a practice. Natangiye nwite. I think I mentioned those low moments that I used to have and I couldn't sleep. That's the time I started journaling. I'm manifesting. I'm like, it is really hard right now, but this is what I want to achieve. And I can tell you, Malik, 90% of the things I wrote in there, they happened. Like, not happened like it was a dream. I woke up. No. I worked towards it.
Yeah.
Because it came from believing that. So I think a lot of it is really rooted in my faith in God and believing that I can be able to do this. But also there is believing, yego, hari abantu bajya gusenga maybe and say, Imana iraza kubizana, and then you go and chill. But also on ground, at the end of the day when I'm sleeping, I know that school fees needs to be paid and it's me who's going to need to pay it. So what that means is I cannot rely on one opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, there is one that everyone knows, but I cannot be the person to rely on one opportunity. So amaso yanjye abacanyi isaha n'isaha. So if there is music, I'm looking for those gigs. If I actually even started some businesses here and there.
Oh, nice.
Yes, because I have manifested things and they will not find me in my bed. Vuba is not going to bring all of those opportunities. So, Changashin. So I think there is how I do it. I really don't think there is any other magic that I do. Oh yeah, ndichira nkapanga nkavuga wenda what do I want to achieve this year? What do I need to achieve it? Do I have the resources? Do I need to study something? How do we achieve this? And then that way,
So okay, there is a really good part in that of manifesting, right? Oh, good, yeah, I'm gonna manifest this, but again, manifestation doesn't come on its own.
Yes.
So you need to do some work about it.
Yes.
Nagaye ngo ndabisengera Imana izabimpe. So urabisengera kanabikorera bikorera ko Imana ifasha uyifashije. So I think that is one part. But there is another part that probably, of course, if you believe in God, Imana igufasha mo, but really, really depend a lot on you as an individual, right?
Yeah.
That is even beyond science. Beyond financial means, sibyo? Because at the end of the day, I imagine whatever that was hard 7 years ago, mbere yuko ubyara, there are some still parts that are really, really hard.
Yeah.
Ariko, you still manage to have strength of doing things. Sibyo? And have time for it. So ni ukuvuga ngo iyo ndi kubivuga njyewe ndi kubivuga nk'umuntu ukuzi cyangwa se wenda nk'umuntu n'undi muntu ushaka kugufollowinga kuri social media with an intention to get to know you, they will know. Sibyo? Ari buze kukubona mu gitondo wajyanye zi gukina umupira, aze kukubona watashye ubukwe bw'umuntu. Sibyo? Ejo mu gitondo naza Norsken muhure waje ku kazi. Sibyo? Hanyuma niba afite umwana wiga discovery saa 11 nahagera muhahurira ugiye kwifatira umwana ku ishuri. So though there is a lot of community support, ariko ibyo ni ibintu that you still have to do on your own as a solo parent. Sibyo? So of course I can ask you how you do this. Ariko what is the essence? Like what is the motivation? Sibyo?
Yeah.
What is the end goal? And then how far do you think you can go?
That's a good question. Actually, I've realized I can't do all of those things that you're saying anymore. Kuko birangira narushe narwaye umutwe, like you're saying. You need to be here. You also need to show up for people. You need to still show up for yourself. So if you're what I'm able to do, I delegate now. I know, for example, I'll give you an example. Not so long ago, I decided to have a full-time driver because I'm not going to be doing morning pick-up and drop-offs. I have a meeting at 3 p.m. Azael has an extracurricular, kuja gukina umupira. He also does roller skating, although the coach comes to our neighborhood. But, he has to do all of those things, and I still have other things to do. So, to your point, and I am human. And I'll say, I cannot do this. Or I tell people I cannot come to this. And, funny enough, I've actually had some friendships end because of that. Munakambwira, let's do this. And I'm like, no, I cannot. But because of that fatigue, sometimes you just need to sit down and rest and all of that. So I'm getting to a point where I'm okay. Before that, I struggled with help because, again, going back to so I really don't want to bother anyone. And also, that's just me. Naturally, I really, then I will ask for help. But there's also the option of you don't have to break before you ask for help. You can say, I have a lot on my plate, and then I ask for the help. So I'm getting to a point where I can take that and take a bit of help. And again, to the support system, my siblings, my mom, match his energy. And they take him for a couple of days, or they take him for the games that he has and all the other things. So I'm learning that I can't do it all by myself. Sometimes, obviously, you have to show up because that's the price I'm paying for the choices that I made.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I think one time, twari dufite a very important event ku kazi. And that same day, there was a game ku ishuri. You're not going to tell a 5-year-old, ntago ndibuze abandi babyeyi baje. So I had to no, actually it wasn't a meeting. It was a get together. It was an end of year. So I had to attend his event, and the team had gone to Muhazi. I had to attend the event. After attending the event, Fatimodoka immediately, I went there and I found them there, and I sacrificed. I say it's fine. I'll have to drive the whole way. So those are the things. Some of that is a price you pay. Urananirwa at the end of the day. But again, to say being happy doesn't remove the hard work and the hardship and the toll that it takes.
This sounds easy to say, but I know it's not easy.
It's not.
Who do you talk to?
That's a good question. My friends.
Yeah.
I have friends. I have family. My cousin. I have a cousin who I'm very close to that I speak to about it. But especially my friends. I have some friends where we are very intentional. We are growing to be intentional. I think imyaka tugezemo ntago ari kuvuga ngo turakuze by the way I'm young. I'm young at that.
Wiser.
Why?
Foolish.
Because of how life has turned out. I think mu gihe cy'ababyeyi bacu babaga bafite a lot of communal support because ibintu byinshi wasangaga babikora hamwe. Urumva, ariko twebwe we become very individualistic. So at the end of the day ugasanga uretse nanjye who has a special I don't want to call it a special case, but a very different life setup.
Yeah.
Ariko even you, I'm sure you and your wife, ibintu mwirirwamo uba wananiwe ku buryo it's not every day that you're going to remember, uyu munsi ni anniversary ya kanaka, ejo uyu nguyu nawe bizaba bimeze gutya na gutya. It's really tough because we're all chasing life.
Yeah.
So my friends and I, some of my very close friends and I, what we decided to do is to be more intentional about it. We're like, everyone has things going on. So if we don't intentionally work on our friendship, ni kwa kundi ubyuka nyuma y'imyaka 10 and you find you've drifted apart.
Yeah.
And maybe some people have chronic illnesses because of cyangwa other lifestyle threatening situations. Kuko babuze umuntu babiganira. Yeah, and I think, and not even just for us, but I think that's what I would even tell other people watching us.
Yeah.
If life has started taking a toll, you really need to like be intentional with your relationships. And by relationships, I mean friendships and family and
So one of my hardest question today is breaking generation trauma, right? Nsigaye mbura irindi jambo nkoresha ritari trauma, but I think it's generational childhood, like how uko twarezwe kubera ko dukurira mu bintu byinshi byatari. So there is the trauma you get, there is how you're raised sometimes that is not the proper way. Urumva, ubwo ntago ndi kubivuga, ntago abantu bose baciye muri ibyo bibazo, but I think millennials abenshi twabiciyemo, right? And probably some Gen Zs as well. So you're raising a man, right?
Yeah.
You're raising next husband to someone, the next boyfriend to someone, next father to someone. And you've been lucky to have your father for 24 years, although it's not really enough. And now there is no...
It was actually less. He died a couple of years before I got pregnant, so yeah, it was less than that, yeah.
Which is also hard because your dad passed 3 years before you give birth. So what does that mean? Usually grieving. You were still grieving. Although there is no even such a time, there's no such a thing of stop grieving.
There's no time frame.
But the wound was still really fresh. So now you're raising a man. Right?
Yeah. So
what kind of a man do you want to raise? And how do you deal with these situations to make sure that whatever you went through, like Z become a man that you're really, really proud
of? Yeah. I wish I had the answer to that, Malik, and I'll be honest and I tell you, I do not have the answer to that because I'm also being a parent for the first time and I'm discovering as I'm going. And I think for every stage comes with its own ways of parenting and ways of navigating. So for me, I think I try to be as honest with myself again.
Yeah.
And know that if I need the support, Coco, it gets to a point. Obviously, he's a boy.
Yeah.
I've never been a boy. I've never been a boy. He's going to be a man. I've never been a man.
Yeah.
But I also know that within my circles, within my family, within my friends, haraban njenda kabas. By the way, what is this? What is this stage? As a boy, did you go through this stage? Did you? He is. He's 6, 7. Usually 6, 7. Actually, from 5. Baba bafite energy nyinshi bwatari. Bafite energy nyinshi. noneho wikubira ko he's also very active. He's into sports and stuff. Arasonza. Agira pity cyane. Like he gets hungry every single time. And you know, I thought about it and I was like, no, hari n'ukuntu iyo abantu bariya cyane baba banarwaye n'inzoka. Ngiye nkajya muhata amavitamini cyangwa umwana. Kuki? And you know, when I had conversations with some of my friends, they're like, it's normal.
Yeah.
It's normal kuko akoresha imbaraga nyinshi, afite energy nyinshi.
Yeah.
So it's only natural. There's nothing abnormal about that. So that's what I'm saying. With every stage, I try to really educate myself. I know teenagehood is coming.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm doing push-ups. Kuko I'm like, God, by that time, successful of gag. Ngombe kuba narayigezeho, because that appetite, I even remember when my brothers were teenagers, I think you know the appetite of teenage boys. Bararya per. Since niba banje banahaga. But the teenage boys,
they eat until they can finish whatever is at all.
Whatever is available. So, you know, so at every stage that is coming, I try to really educate myself, but there's also resources around here. There's people that you can talk to. One of the people who, I don't know if he's aware, but I pick a lot of things from him is Hassan, Pastor Hassan at CLA. And I think we touched a little bit about him.
It's gonna.
Yeah, I think he would be a great guy to talk to about fatherhood. So there are some people that I go to and I speak to them. But another thing that I also do, I try to be as honest with him as I possibly can. Kuko, the more you educate someone, I don't want him, because one of my prayers as a parent is that he can be a self-sustainable human being.
Yeah.
Not just because he's going to be a dad or because he's going to be a da, but even for himself. So ejo bundi, God forbid, if anything happens to his mom or to his uncles or whatever, and he's a grown adult, he will know how to get through life. Obviously, loss makes you ntago twabikuraho, but I mean, you know, like survival. You know, that's one of the things that I feel like if he's able to achieve that as a parent,
no, you deserve one already. You deserve a lot of flowers, to be honest. I mean, I have a lot of questions on this. If I ask you these questions, I really won't stop. I personally am learning a lot from this. No one anyway. But I think there will be many people that would learn a lot from this. So maybe a few last questions, couple of 2 to 3 last questions. This is a funny one. So Z is 20, 21, maybe 23. And he comes home and say, Mama, I made someone pregnant. What would you do?
Just be like, so how do you feel? 1, how do you feel about it? 2, what is your plan? Remember what did my dad tell me? Abana muzabyara n'abanyutakara banje. Abanje bane narababyaye narabarese. So I think for me, again, part of being an independent and self-sustainable is to own your choices. It's not just it's not just getting a job, being successful, whether it is material-wise, changa, gutunga, or all of that. No, it's not just that. Even in your choices. So if you don't give your first of all, I'll tell him the same thing I told myself.
Yeah.
What did you expect was going to happen? That was not your sister. What did you expect was going to happen? But I will not be someone who's going to throw a stone. It's not going to be what did you expect was going to happen in a way you're judging or anything, because that same thing happened to me. It's going to be in the sense of you have to own up to your choices if you're not already. Yeah.
So, my mom used to tell me almost the same as your dad. Ariko in a bit twisted language. So I remember one day, my mom had us, we were 4. Noneho arambwira icyo gihe twari twicanye turi twenyine turi babiri. we were discussing about my sex affairs. Arangije arambwira
Naughty boy.
arangije arambwira ati rero reka nkubwire ikintu kimwe ati ngufite uri wenyine ni ukuvuga ngo ndi njyenyine not with the four of us but icyo gihe she's referring to me so ni ukuvuga ngo niharamuka hagize umuntu utera inda I cannot take responsibilities of two people kandi ntabwo nzanga umwana njye ndashaka umwuzukuru so what does that mean you go out the kid comes in
We only have one spot.
there is only one spot and that's what we be for day
Mwahasoka ugusimburana.
so I grew up with that mentality of like okay I at least I see there is a little bit of not judging in that end but there is conditions ntago nzarera abantu babiri wowe I am responsible to you so if you bring someone else that you are not responsible to you go we switch. Anyway, for some reason it's one of the funny stories I never forget about my mom. I remember the particular situation the night investigating yours HODA. In that sense. Unfortunately she didn't get to see her grandkids, but I know she's happy.
Fortunately, yeah.
So Sherry, as we close our conversation, and again as I said, it's a journey, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think that we can talk about this until especially young parents dukora no kuvuga ku bana bacu byataye n'ibindi nk'ibyo
ariko that's the stage of life where you know turi muri secondary we talk about your crush or we talk about ibyo twabinyuzemo biratambuka maybe next stage of life we'll be talking about something else
so a little bit of segue outside of parenthood. So what is your dream? Where do you want to be? What are you doing about it?
That's a deep one. What do I want to be? One, I want to be financially independent. I want to get to a point where I can have my money working for me than me working for my money.
Yeah.
And not
Amen.
Yeah. Woo, let's put it out there into the world.
Yes.
So come back. So yeah, and that could be in many things. And also another thing that I really hope that I can do is to be of influence, to be of impact. Not maybe atari mu buryo bw'amafaranga ayangayo nayaboneka nayo tuzayakoresha mu kuimpactinga, but even something as small as this, as this podcast, if someone is going to listen to it, they can take something that's going to impact them.
Yeah.
They can take something that's going to positively have a positive influence in their life. So for me, that's really the quest that I'm on and working towards that every single day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
how about you, Malik?
Okay, let me make a comment and then I tell you. One thing I can, again, manifest, Ukova Mutimas, they're being influenced. I think anyone who knows Sherry, they know, he knows or they know about Mutima, right?
The Mutims.
Mutims. Yeah. So I think that whole community is really learning something. And I'm very sure, for matter of fact, this is going to be another learning conversation for them. It really is a learning conversation for me. And then I hope it makes an impact to one or two other people as well who will be listening or watching this. How about me? So where do I want to be? I think, let me start by, I don't know. And I own it. I celebrated that I don't know everything guys or where I want to be. Ariko, there is one thing, right? So one thing is Shandarush. I'm honestly really tired and I think I want to rest as soon as I can. So what does that mean? Financially, it means what you're talking about. So I need to be able to rest at early stage.
Yeah.
So that I can enjoy all the hardship of life I have been through, right? So that I can stop going home with guilty, of not having time with my kids and so forth. hari akantu uzi kwa kundi tuva ku kazi twagera mu rugo ukajya muri douche, hajya muri douche ufite ama-email utarasubiza, ugahita wongera ukajya mu kazi. So nowadays Rema nsigaye ngera mu rugo yabona mfashe laptop agahita wongera akambwira, cyangwa se nambaye mpinduye n'imyenda ngiye muri sport agahita ambwira ngo papa ngo ugiye mu kazi nanone. No, sise ugiye mu kazi again, urumva? So and that really guilt me, right? Because in his mind he's like, so you had a whole day out, right? So now you are here, you are mine, right? But you're still going to work. So like, when am I gonna get your time? So I really hope that
you can do that.
I can manage to get that time as soon as possible. I think that's one of the biggest challenge in life I have today. So if I remove that aside, sinzi niba nshaka kuba umukire cyane, I'm really grateful where I am. Of course I want to continue financially grow. But this podcast is one of the things in many things I want to do for community. So I want to end by empowering community and helping people, mainly because of how I grew up, and then how the support I've been getting in my life. So I am where I am today because I've been given a lot of opportunities. Yeah. So I really want to get to the point where I am capable to give these opportunities to many people, especially many young Rwandans. I want many young Rwandans to find jobs, to have better education, and then so forth. So when I will get to that, I would really have made it in life.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Actually, wow. I had a question, but let me also quickly make a comment. Now that you've explained it that way, it reminds me of something that has really been on my heart for a few years now, and that is something to be able to support single mothers who are not as privileged as I am. Because I really think sometimes before we give an opinion, a lot of the times it's influenced by privilege.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of what I've been saying is influenced by the privilege that I have. There are so many people who don't have it. And so for me, I really pray that one day I'll get to a point where I can have a space where I just interact with fellow single moms. There was one that came to my Instagram, part of what you're saying, when people reach out to me, and I used my platform to be able to get a solution for them. I don't know if you followed.
I think I missed that.
You probably missed it, but it was someone who reached out to me, and I think they're okay with me sharing this because I shared it already publicly on my Instagram. And they're telling me they're a single mom too. They have an education. They haven't been able to find work. And I put it out there on my Instagram. And I said, people, do fashion. And she has been having job interviews. Oh, nice. And the same day that I put it, people, I got her number and people were able to send her money. And I think that day she was able to get between 100 and 150K that people were sending her. And part of the message, what she was saying is she doesn't even have rent and she has a baby. And so just being able to use my platform to impact one person's life like this was very close to what I was thinking. And there's sometimes Mali dutekereza ibintu ntitunabivuge. Uvuga ati maybe one day nzagera kuri iki ngiki. Maybe one day this is something that I wanted to do. So for me, also something like that. Obviously, again, it being social media, it being the world that we live in, there are people who are going to be scammers. As I forget quite a story to make a story. So it's not something that I have the capacity for right now, because since it's a topic that's so close to me, something that I have lived to. It's so easy ko umuntu yaza kantera ifrape wa mugani. I have a Burundian friend ukunda kuvuga ngo ntago
amuteye
ifrape. So umuntu ashobora kuza agashiraho story and you buy it. So that's why I'm not going into it right now, because I don't want to lead people down, and also for maybe stand up for the wrong thing. But also that's something that I hope that I can be able to Yeah, dear.
Yeah, I mean, yes, and that would be really great. One thing I need to add on this is, Sherry, pain is pain. Fibio, either privileged or non-privileged, pain is pain. So I always try to explain this to people. When you have an emotional pain, it's an emotional pain. And I don't think, at least niba gihari ntago nkizi, but I don't think you call up to now hari a pain meter that can measure the level of a pain someone is having. Yeah. So because of that, you should be grateful, but you should also not really feel bad that you are privileged and your pain
like that,
and undermine your pain.
Yeah,
you get kubera ko reaction to pain n'amarira n'agahinda n'ibindi, and the reaction to pain are the same. So because of that, you always have to remember that to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
kubera ko pain is pain.
I like that.
So anyway, I think
I have a question for you before we continue. And thank you for saying that. It's very empowering. So you mentioned something about my name comes up when you're talking about parenting, and to you and Nadia as well. You've mentioned it a couple of times. I want to hear it from you. What is it about my parenting journey? Is there any specific thing that you have seen and you're like, this is something that has really impacted me?
I think it's a very, very good question. I have an answer to that right away. So I think for me, to start with that's exactly where I started by asking my question is first of all the celebration, right? The acceptance of your parenthood, right? Buriya, married and not married, kuba umubyeyi also wabiteguye cyangwa utabiteguye, it's not an easy thing. So now the fact, with all the hardship, the cries you would make, the worries you would be thinking about, but the fact that you can still be able to celebrate that, I think that's a good thing. But for me, most importantly, it's not even that. Yeah, most importantly is, as a solo parent, you said you hate the word single, is Njyewe na Nadia were very privileged. Again, coming from that angle. So I live with my mother-in-law, so Mama Nadia. So which means for many hours she support us to take care of the kids, the ma, n'ibindi. So which means that they are the pain of sleepless nights. Rimwe tutigeze tubona ko umwana yashoboraga kurira tukaba twamujyana kwa grandmere.
Wow, that's amazing.
Because we could go on holidays tukasiga umwana mu rugo and we are not worried. Kubera ko dushobora kuba dusinzire tukumva umwana ari kurira dushake kubyuka, because you probably think yuko umuntu bari kumwe nawe ashobora kuba nanamukunda kukurusha. You get, but in the end of all of that, you still worry, right? You still there's a lot of hard work. Mugomba kujya kwa muganga, umwana agomba gukingizwa, mugomba kumushakira ishuri, and then there are things that you cannot outsource.
Kabisa.
Urumva hari ibyo outsourcinga. My friend Asteliz, which is, as well, she's the one who says in life we should learn how to outsource our problems. Urumva. But there are problems that you cannot outsource. So noneho ndi kubireba nkareba kuntu biri kuba ikibazo turi batatu mu rugo, who really cares about someone in one house, right, under one roof. And then tukibuka yuko Sherry ari ahantu igacuriro in one roof, herself nazi ari babiri gusa. You are like, how does this woman manage to do? Uri kubyumva, the kid is already inspired of becoming Hadia Kunda Messi, right?
Yeah.
Ronald.
Cristiano na
Mbappe, right? And he knows the reason Cristiano nukwera ko ajya muri gym. Urumva, he knows, like, everything is exposed to it because you are doing that. Uri kubyumva. At the same time, nugo enda, you may not have your dream job, but you've managed to make your way. You haven't been jobless. So which means you still manage kujya kujya mu kazi ugakora, you deliver, people appreciate you, urumva, you get new challenge or new opportunities, you jumped it. So the whole thing, urumva, and knowing the pain probably you don't share. Urikubyumva. Because I can sympathize with that pain, but I don't know the pain, but I know there is pain that you don't share. Urikubyumva. Tugiye no muri your pain, I am sure you cannot even, like, there are even the pain that you cannot even explain.
Yeah.
Sibyo. So when you look at all of that, it's something to really, really commend. So that's what I was talking about. And then still be able to see you as a joyful person. It's like, najya kubona ngo abone you are miserable. You're very happy, lunga. And of course, despite all the pain you've said, despite of the loss, the friendship, n'ibindi nk'ibyo byose, ariko you really stick to your objectives, right? Ukavuga uti, I know my true north, nzicyo nkeneye, and then I have to go through that no matter what. So that's really what I was talking about in terms of inspiration.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. You know, sometimes, like you're saying, Hari, some pain that I'll probably never get to speak about. Some pain that I don't even know I have.
Yeah.
Because my default life is set up the way it is. So kundi muntu ireba, I usually don't want to use this as an example. And I do not, maybe disclaimer is to say that I do not mean to mock this community. But ubajije nk'umuntu utarigeze arebaho. Like, you know, there are different kind of people who are visually impaired, visually impaired. Hari ababa bafite sight ikageraho, ikagenda kubera uburwayi, hari noneho n'utayifite completely. So when you ask them, which is your favorite color, they've never seen colors.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe you feel bad for them, kubera ko they can't see, or they've never seen all the beautiful things that we see, but their reality of life is good because it has been like that from the get-go, and they've managed to go through life based on their circumstances. So for me as well, hari nk'ibintu abandi bantu babona, and they're like, oh, this and this and this. I'm just like, but that's my default setting.
Yeah.
I think it would be different for someone maybe who was previously had the support maybe from the other partner, and then eventually it's not there anymore because of, again, different life circumstances.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, either death, either divorce or whatever, then that becomes different. Ariko ngiye kubera ko from the get-go it has been me, hari ibyo mubona ngiye, I'm just like, huh?
Yeah. That comes very natural to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no such a thing as natural. Honestly, it's natural because you've by the way, you trained yourself to.
Yeah, it's your.
No one gave you this training.
Yeah.
So kubyumva.
It's your reality. You have to adapt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's something really, really to commend.
Thank you for saying that, Malik.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. I think this is probably our longest ever conversation we've ever had on Salon Free so far.
Now we're on the good.
No. This was really, really helpful. And yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me. And thanks to the team. You guys are very patient. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation as well. Yeah? Okay.
I hope next time we'll come back. We'll talk about music, branding, and then so forth.
Yes.
Or we'll also talk about the birthdays. Yaje kuchina. I don't know, muri Paris Saint-Germain, whatever you want to go to play. But yes, thanks a lot for sharing. And I'm sure this is going to be a good learning for many, many people. But it was a really good learning for me. Even like hari ibintu ubuze ariko umuntu yakongera kubikubwira ukavuga uti oh gosh, and I'm happy that I didn't cry because I almost cried.
Oh.
So yes, so I'll see you next time.
Can I say one more thing
Say.
to people who are watching and are going through that situation?
Yes.
I don't know if you're able to put my Instagram.
Oh yeah,
They can watch and they can reach out to me. Having been through that experience, I don't want anyone to go through it knowing me and feel like I'm not approachable. I am approachable. Approach me, let me know. And
Okay.
I really want to be a support system for someone who went through the same thing I went through because I got the support.
Thank you for offering. I actually was very shy to ask. But to do that, and then really thank you for offering that.
Thanks, Malik.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Until next time. This is when we say, please subscribe, share our content, share feedback. Thank you very much.